Hello, my friend. In this video, I want to go over the 3 ways that I've personally been using AI in my music career and as like a content creator as well. So obviously, ever since ChatGPT has come out, there's been a lot of stuff about AI in the news and in YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff. And so I guess I want to put my hat in the ring there and actually show how I've actually been using it in the last little while. There's a couple different ways that I've been testing actually implementing it into my workflow as I'm creating different things, whether it's music and content and videos like this. I've actually found some interesting ways to incorporate it, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. And before diving into this, I should mention that I'm going to mention a couple tools here. None of them are sponsored or anything like that. It's just what I've been experimenting with, and I think most usually have some kind of free option. So if you did want to test it out, I'll try to have some links in the description below. So with that said, the first way that I've been using AI is I've been using a tool called Lalalai. And basically what it is it uses AI to extract out the stems from a piece of music. And the main way that I've been using it is by piping in different songs that I want to remix. And basically it's quite nice because you put in the music that you want. It separates out the vocal and the instrumental. And in particular, it does a good job with it, I would say. And why I like it, the way that it does that way, is when I throw it into Ableton, I can have the vocal and the instrumental over on 2 different tracks. And I find that helpful to kind of kickstart the process of warping the vocal. So you can actually warp it against the instrumental to make sure that it's actually in time and playing nicely, as opposed to a vocal that might be starting on the 1 or the 2 or the 3, or have that little like lead in. And it makes it just a little easier having the instrumental right behind it to properly sync it up and make sure that you can use it. And so I've been finding this really useful to make really clean remixes. Normally back in the day, you'd have to find acapellas for this kind of thing, or you'd have to kind of mess with the audio and have a whole bunch of the background noise coming in, instruments and that kind of stuff, and drums and that kind of stuff. And so there's 2 things I really like about this. One is that you get a cleaner remix, and then two, and I'm really excited about this, and one of my releases that are coming up use this kind of idea. But since you're able to build up a remix around that vocal hook and it's nice and clean, I'm finding it's also cool because then what you can do is remove that vocal, and then you've built this cool instrumental underneath it, and then you can replace that vocal with your own hook, whether it's different vocals or a melody line or something like that. So you're able to, one, create a remix that's really awesome, and then transition that into an original song using the composition that you've built around it. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm definitely going to be talking a little bit more about how I'm using this in a musical sense. It's pretty exciting, and I'm pretty happy with the results. And I think I've talked about stuff like this before, but I really like that kind of like bang for your buck kind of ideas and getting as much out of something as possible. So the idea of being able to create a remix and have an original track kind of in one go there is something that it really appeals to me, and I'd be excited to talk more about that if you'd like me to do so. The second way that I have been using AI in some of my workflows is moving a little bit away from the music stuff and a bit more to this content creation kind of side of things. And it's a really simple one, and I'm sure most people have thought of this, but it's simply using ChatGPT to outline research and get first drafts on things like articles. My actual main thing is I prefer writing first as opposed to speaking or doing video. So I'm pretty big into putting a lot of the content that I create on articles on my website first before kind of turning them into videos here on YouTube. And I've been finding ChatGPT is really awesome for quite a few different things. First is the main one is kind of just getting the ball rolling with quite a few things. So say if you wanted to write a topic about X, Y, or Z, you can say, hey, can you create an outline for X, Y, or Z? And then it'll output 5 different points. You can kind of massage that a little bit, rework it a little bit, and then you have an outline. Then you can say, write a 500-word post on the above outline, and then you can keep massaging it and creating it. So why I'm finding this really useful is not necessarily for just like pounding out AI content and not really looking it over. I'm finding if you have some expertise or knowledge in a topic, it's amazing because it can really just the fact checking process is a lot easier, and you can already tell if things are on the right place or not. And then in addition to that, you can't just rely on it to output something and be done with it. Really, the main thing is it's a lot about editing the output that it has. So you're kind of working with the AI, asking different questions to get to the answer that you want to. And then you always need to make sure that you add your own personal touch and stories around things and make sure you're actively trying to edit it. With a lot of things, happens with music, script writing, video writing, article writing, any of this stuff, usually the general thing is the first draft is always not the greatest. And the idea is to get that first draft out as quickly as possible. And I find that AI is really good for this. You can really quickly get a first draft out, and then you can jump in there and do the editing. There's a Manchester Orchestra album. I'm not sure if you listened to that band, but or it was an EP or something way back in the day. But it kind of reminds me of this a little bit, where the name of it was "You Brainstorm, I Brainstorm, but Brilliance Needs a Good Editor." And I think that's kind of the idea here. You need to make sure that you're doing a heavy job on editing and adding a human touch on these things, but it can really speed things up, remove writer's block, help you organize your thoughts really quickly, and then you can kind of take it from there. I'm finding it incredibly useful. And the third way that I've been using AI in my workflow is kind of an interesting one, and I'm excited to kind of show you a little bit more about this. But what I've been using is a tool called Dscript to create an AI model of my voice. So that way, what I've done is I've actually built out it's kind of a little test, it's a little experiment, but I've started a podcast. And the podcast, what's interesting about it is I will write an article first, because that's kind of my strength. Writing is definitely my strength. And then because I built an AI model of my voice using Dscript, I can paste that article into Dscript, and then my AI voice will read out the entire article. So I'm kind of interested in this idea. I don't think it's perfect, but I'm definitely experimenting with it. If you've been following the channel for a bunch or looked at any of my old videos, I actually basically would do this in a sense. I would write the article first. That's the best way that I can get my thoughts down on paper like that. And my first and the majority of my YouTube videos would be that like side screen of the article and me on the side just reading it. I think this is a natural evolution of that, but I'm interested to keep experimenting with it because it does sound kind of a little funny, a little like monotone and weird, but I'm doing a little bit of experiment with this podcast, see how people like it, and see if it makes sense to keep trying to use the AI voice for a bunch of different things. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I will put a link in the description to Dscript if you want to check it out and try something like this. Particularly, I think you will find it useful if you're similar to me and you find yourself you're a stronger writer and not as good on camera or speaking out loud or anything like that. If you're a stronger writer, you might find this useful because you can easily turn things into podcasts and even kind of videos as well. So just as a little tease, what I think I'll do for the next video next week on Thursday, I will drop a video that goes over the whole process that I've built. It's actually like, I think it's 5 steps that I've come up with, and it's actually goes from creating the initial draft with AI and how I edit it, and then how I actually pipe that into Dscript and turn it into an actual AI podcast. So next video, I'll make sure to create a video of how to basically create a podcast using AI, and actually have some examples in there if you'd like to hear it and see what you think about it, and if it's something that you actually might be able to use in some way in your content creation processes and all that kind of stuff. So those are the 3 ways I'm using AI. Actually, as a quick little bonus one, I have also used like Midjourney for creating AI art. I've only done it maybe 2 or 3 times. I'm not too crazy about the idea. I just don't like how it looks. They all look the same. It's just crazy how quickly you can see like an artist release an album, and you can see that it's AI art. So because of that, it looks too samey, and I'm kind of moving away from it. But I've definitely tried it in the past. It's cool, and maybe it'll keep going further. And I guess just quickly, what would be really amazing is hopefully eventually that will move into AI video. If it would be possible to easily create music videos or edit videos or anything like that, then I think we're going to be in some crazy new world, because those are the things that I hate the most. I like making videos, and I like people seeing them and being helpful, but like the act of like sitting down and creating it and editing all that stuff can be really tedious, and it's not my favorite thing to do in the world. So if AI could take over there, that would be cool too. So sorry for rambling a little bit there, but those are kind of also, I guess, extra bonuses where I'd like to see AI go, and that's kind of interesting as well. So hopefully you found this useful. If you did, like and subscribe and all that stuff, and make sure you check out for next week's video where I'll be going into how you can use AI to create a podcast and create an AI model of your voice and all that kind of stuff. Should be pretty cool stuff. So anyways, take care. I'll see you soon. Bye, my friend.